Hello Internet, and welcome to the VR devlog number 4, What Doesn't Work in VR Using Shadow Warrior 2 show. Shadow Warrior 2 is a really fun 2D game. I love the fast action combat, and I do think that the fast action combat should definitely translate to VR. But what I noticed was there was a few features that work in this format of 2D, but not really working so well in VR. And I thought maybe I would talk a little bit about that and some possible solutions to the problems. First and foremost is the 2D menu system that has a really large inventory of stuff that you can use to customize your weapons and the different weapons that you can use, also the different skills that you can use to level up your character. In 2D, this is fun, and it really provides motivation for you to keep playing the game, and it's nice because you really have a lot of control over how you play your character and how you customize the game. However, I think in virtual reality that it would just slow the game down too much to have that much of a inventory and different choices. Even if you were to make the menus 3D, it would kind of stop the action and get a little tedious because there's a whole world around for you to explore. I did come up with what I thought was an okay solution. Instead of having a really expansive menu system that you have to flit through, make each drop really count. And you could have a bunch of customizable stuff and have like an inventory pouch at the person's hip. Then, whenever they wanted to customize their weapon, instead of going through a menu, they would have to reach down into their pouch and actually apply whatever mod it was to the weapon that they're holding in their hands. This could also be used with skills, where when a person found a new skill, they could decide whether or not to use it by picking it up out of their butthole and putting it on their chest. Well, maybe not the butthole, but somewhere. And that way, it would be a little more fast-paced, and it would also make it a little bit more immersive because you would be actually modifying yourself and the weapon. It would be nice to also have kind of like visual cues on the weapon that it's been modified, which this doesn't really have, maybe a little bit with the effects. Next, the amount of cutscenes in Shadow Warrior 2 is fine for the game in 2D, but it won't work at all in 3D or virtual reality. What you want to do to get around this is basically just have the characters that you need to interact with be AIs that just randomly wander around the world, and the world still has dynamic things happening to it, whether the AI is talking or not. And if you miss out, and you're screwed. But that way you don't take control away from the person in VR. I really am a big proponent of not taking control away from someone in VR unless it's really story specific, like you're fighting a boss who has a mechanic that takes control away from you for X amount of seconds and you have to do something. I'm still not sure if they intentionally let all chat out of the multiplayer, but in VR this is just never going to work. You're going to have to be able to voice chat with your player buddies, and that I think it should be like even more extreme to just, open mic with no option to mute. Now that's probably a little unrealistic. You probably want to be able to push to talk or mute, but I think it would be cooler in virtual reality that if you said something out loud, the person in virtual reality with you would hear it whether you wanted them to or not. A lot of people would say that it's not really possible for you to do the running jumpy super fast in VR like the combat is in Shadow Warrior 2 because of VR sickness, and that this will really incur some serious motion sickness to have somebody have this kind of freedom and super fast control over their character. I disagree. I think that people would really want to play something like this, even if they're just standing still or sitting, or have some sort of toned down motion control of movement, like using the jogging to move, and then maybe possibly like having the hands go up or down to jump and double jump. But honestly, I think you could also get away with just having it on the touchpad, where you would, click one button to jump, one button to move forward really fast, and so on. But I don't have VR sickness at all, and I don't mind going really fast. I really get a kind of a thrill out of it, and I think a lot of other VR players will also get a thrill out of it, and I encourage Dev to say, screw it, I ain't scared of no VR sickness. I'm gonna make a fast-paced action game where we shoot everything in sight and kill and blood and maim all day long.